Hey everybody, I got a unique opportunity to sit down with the unit that we sponsor in Israel, Unit 66, and I'm here with Elia and Gil, and they're part of the unit, and I wanted to tell you guys a little bit where your money is going to. When you support Israel and you support them through Rock Harbor Church and Tip of the Spear, these are the real live guys that we're supporting and trying to protect and do everything we can to help them in their war against Hamas and basically their war against evil, really what's going on. So I wanted you guys to get a chance to hear from them today. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves to you so you can get to know them. So this is Elia. Elia, tell them what you do in Unit 66.
Perfect. So my name's Elia Lefkowitz. I'm 33 years old, married to Adina, father to Lavi, 3 years old, and Noam, a year and a half. And actually, we're expecting third baby. I hope it's a girl, but if we have another soldier in the family, that's totally fine as well. I'm basically the command sergeant major for our battalion, and also part of the special task force in the chief commander office. And yes, in regard to what I do in my day-to-day life, before the last 6 months, I work for a top Israeli cybersecurity company, and I lead all business development initiatives. Our clients are companies like Orange, Verizon in the US, Bezek, and yeah, that's me on Tip of the Spear.
Gil.
Well, thank you very much for having us. First of all, my name is Gil Schlesinger. I'm 30 years old. Originally from a small moshav around 30 minutes south in Tel Aviv. These days I live in Tel Aviv and actually work for an organization that brings American teenagers, Jewish American teenagers, into Israel for different programs. And in Unit 66, my role is I'm a commander in anti-tank missiles team. So this is my role in reserves. Yeah.
You're awesome. Well, I'm privileged to be able to be with you. Now, we're filming in Southern California because you guys are kind of like on leave for a while. Is that what's happening? What's going on?
So basically, about a month and a half ago, we got getting back a bit to our families and to get the economy kind of like running, because Israel is really struggling for the last 6 months, because we had about 300,000 reserve soldiers called. So as you guys can understand, from a country that has about 8 to 9 million people, that's a huge part of the of the working force. So currently a lot of the reserves are back home with the knowledge that we're going back in a couple of months. Some might be even closer than we have like our orders during the summer, but we know that it's probably closer. So that's really important to understand, that if something happens up north, that's what we were trained for. That's what we as soon as we got out of active duty, everything that we did for the last 12, I'm doing it 12 years in reserves.
Gil is doing it
9 years.
Wow.
So every year we do about a month of reserve training or serving in the borders of Israel and protecting. So everything we were trained for is north. So that's the bigger war. That's the place that we're currently practicing and getting re-equipped to be able to prepare for that. So that's basically what we've been doing. And here we're part of actually a delegation that it's the two of us and two soldiers that we have here in LA that joined us. And what we're doing is basically traveling around the country and speaking across schools, synagogue, churches, with leaders, and really giving them the understanding of what is really happening in Israel on the front lines. And also, the war that we're all trying to win is the public opinion war, because we know we get a lot of support and we have a lot of supporters. But first of all, not all of them know what exactly to do and how to support. So financial is amazing, but we also need you guys to be more vocal and to speak for Israel, and also to know, because at the end of the day, knowledge is the most important thing. And when you feel secure about your knowledge, you could also share it with other people. And we're trying to get the people who are currently on the sideline in our favor, because that's a war for all the Western civilization. And the current war is in Israel, and that's where it's happening, but it's something much bigger it's their Western civilization at the end of the day, currently at war.
Yeah, a good point. So let me pick your brain a little bit, both of you. You guys started serving how fast after October 7th? Immediately or what?
Yeah, so we were both, just like the rest of our unit and many other units, were called right on October 7th.
Okay.
So we arrived right on the first day, and we kept serving for 4 months straight. And so actually we got the first phone call from the commanders, and right from the beginning when it all started. At this point, I could tell more about it, but even the religious people who are Shomer Shabbat, we don't use electricity in Shabbat.
Yeah.
As soon as they realized what happened, everyone turned on their phones.
Oh, they did.
And actually for me, the first point where I understood how serious is it is that when my Shomer Shabbat officer, my commander, called me. This is where I understand it's serious, if he's using his phone on Shabbat. So we got the first phone call right in the morning, and a couple of hours later, we got the order, just get here as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So pretty much right away.
Right away then.
Yep.
So our audience probably knows this, but I want them to share this video with people that may not know the whole story, that are getting their information from CNN and MSNBC or whatever. So we're starting to see people equivocate. Even Anthony Blinken for the United States said, hey, Israel's getting close to committing the same atrocities as Hamas. They're weird stuff like that's coming out of the White House, okay? And then you're hearing all this, Israel's committing genocide, which we know they're not. So for people that they're going to share this video with, that may not have the right information about what happened, because we have the equivocation that even the White House now is saying that Israel is getting close to committing the same atrocities as Hamas, and that's ridiculous. Tell people that don't know what happened, what happened when Hamas attacked civilians.
Of course. So on October 7th, what actually happened, and it's not open to interpretation.
Right.
Those are the facts, and what happened.
Yeah.
Is that in the early morning of October 7th, it all started around 6:30 a.m. Thousands and thousands, I think it was around 3,000 terrorists just crossed the border and went into Israel in different ways. A lot of them by foot, by motorcycles, from the sea with boats, from the air with parachutes.
Yeah.
In an orchestrated plan attack. Just got from different places all around. Just left Gaza Strip from pretty much every point in there, and just got into different yeshuvim, kibbutzim, different communities.
Yeah.
And also to a few other points, but of course a lot of military bases, and also some sites that they knew of. If you're familiar with the Nova Festival,
yes.
So they knew about that, and they were getting to those places. Nova is the most famous spot, but there were also another parties going around in this area, and they also went there, and just starting slaughtering everyone that they see, and killing and murdering and raping and burning alive, and yeah.
I think it's also important to note that it was a planned attack. So, the people who planned it and had all the information are the same people that the state of Israel have given them jobs.
Yeah.
And
right.
kind of like the only way for them to know exactly where to go, where are their weapons, where's the party, and to know all the small details is by, for years, having inside people who have gotten work in Israel. And the Gazan economy is based on Israel, not because they don't have money, because they get a lot of donations, but the money they get from the UN and from a lot of other countries and organizations is fully goes to terror initiatives, or to make the pockets of their leaders, to make them billionaires.
Yeah.
And that's important to note. Gaza has 36, I think 36. I might be wrong, and it's a bit close, a bit less, but 36 hospital. That's what I know.
Okay.
That amount is equivalent to maybe the whole state of California.
Wow.
It's like crazy to understand it. In Israel, as a total, we have 5 times more people.
Yeah.
We have like 10 hospitals.
Wow.
And
Wow.
those hospitals are used, and we know it because we were there, we were inside. Our doctors just last week volunteered to get back to Shifa Hospital.
Okay.
And what happened there was we caught 500 terrorists. They basically, in 20 minutes, our special forces, not the Delta Force, the Navy SEALs, Israeli Navy SEALs,
Yeah.
and Brigade 401, that is tanks and Givati, they surrendered the premises. About 6,000 people went out. 10% of them were terrorists, and also there were crazy amounts of weapons underneath beds. They had their,
Wow.
it's like, it's something, think about going to a hospital here.
Yeah.
Getting in and understanding that 10% of the hospital is terrorist,
Right.
and that on every second bed you have weapons and mortars
Yeah.
and things that,
That's crazy.
it's like crazy.
Wow.
It's so that's really to understand. We're, every time we're trying to think, and I'm sorry to say it, but the White House could say whatever they want, and
Yeah.
I'm trying not to get into political kind of like opinions, but
It's okay. They're crazy. The White House is crazy.
But at the end of the day, when you think you're kind of like working with normal people,
Yeah.
or kind of like thinking how we could do a piece or something like that, at the end of the day, we need to understand they started the
Yes, right.
attack. We still have 134 hostages.
Yes.
Until they don't put their weapons down and bring back our people, our hostages, there's nothing to speak about a ceasefire.
Thank you.
It's like, that's the
you.
most important thing to understand.
Yeah.
We don't want to keep on fighting.
Right.
That's not our goal in life.
Right.
We want to, we want peace. We're the startup nation. We love innovating.
Yeah.
We did a lot of innovation with the help of you guys, with the drones unit that we
Yeah.
did a lot of amazing things, but at the end of the day, nobody here, I love to be with my family, and you know that, you
Yeah.
met them.
Yes.
It's like, I really want to have peace.
Right.
But with that said, you need like both sides to want it, and unfortunately, the side we're dealing with are not reasonable. I would say they're not human on that side.
Yeah, you're
but
right.
It's the truth. We didn't do anything for them to attack us. We didn't, to rape kids, to
Yeah.
massacre them. It's like, we could say that attacking soldiers is one thing.
Yeah.
We don't want that as well, but
Right.
let's say that's okay. But doing it to families, taking hostages like kids and women, that's something that a moral human being can't do.
Right.
And I think it's important to say that on October 6th, there wasn't peace, but it was quiet.
Yeah.
And it's not only that they started it. I mean, if we're saying that we're not interested in war, none of us wants to
Right.
leave their families or their jobs or anything.
Right.
It's not our wish. It's not what we intend to do. They do.
Right.
They planned it, and obviously they knew it's not going to end on that day. And this is what they're interested in, and this is what they try to create.
The celebrations, we saw that's something I can't even,
Yeah.
seeing kids getting candy
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
slaughtering
We
Jews.
saw those videos. Yes.
That's like, it's crazy. Think about us celebrating killings in
Yeah.
Iraq. It's not something we will do.
It's demonic. It's satanic. It's subhuman. I don't know what to say. What kind of human being thinks like this? And that's what I think a lot of the world doesn't understand. What you guys are facing. Hamas is not playing with a full deck. These guys are megalomaniac psychopaths.
Exactly.
And to think that Israel can sit down and negotiate with that? Oh, you're crazy. Okay, so let me ask you this. What's the next strategy? I mean, the White House is crazy. They don't want you guys going into Rafah.
Yeah.
Right.
But it seems like you have to go into Rafah. It seems like you have to eliminate Hamas to get anything accomplished. So what do you think?
I'll start with the easy part.
Yeah.
First of all, we don't have a choice because we still have the hostages there.
Right.
And as long as we move forward in the Gaza Strip, they take the hostages further south and to the place that we haven't gone to yet.
Yeah.
And saying don't go there to the last part we haven't gone to yet is just saying we let all the terrorists that escape to that area, we're just gonna let them stay there, and then once we're out, they'll just go back to the rest of the Gaza Strip. And saying don't get the hostages, who are most definitely or most likely are they're hiding them in this area.
Yeah.
So thinking there's even an option not to do that, I think it's crazy. I mean, again, we don't want to keep this war forever, but we also don't want to finish it in a way that leave them in the same point where we started.
Right.
And they can do the same thing tomorrow, and they say they want to do it again. They say it.
I know,
they
right?
say it out loud. They don't even try to hide it. They say it. They're planning to do it again.
Sure.
And if we're not done, I mean, if we're not finishing it completely, so it was all in vain.
Amen. I agree. You got to eliminate Hamas. There's no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next phase, explain to people what, I mean, you guys nearly have about 7 fronts. I mean, surrounded, including Iraq and Iran. So once you eliminate Hamas, which that has to be done, you got the north, man.
Right.
You got 150,000 rockets aimed at you guys from the north.
Mm-hmm.
Are some of the families even back in their homes in the north? They're still out of their homes, right?
So we have about
So,
80,000, I think, anything between 80 to 100,000 people that are, for the last 5 or 6 months. 6 months, they're out of their homes.
Yeah.
That's without speaking about the south, the south front.
Yeah, the south.
I have to say, one of the only good things that I could say in regard to this war is that we as a army have gotten stronger.
Yeah.
One of the, first of all, experience in the battlefield always elevates your game, and I have to say, we've been really doing amazing job in the battlefield. And one of the things that we spoke about, we're the most moral army. So
That's right.
And
Tell them how moral you guys are, what you do. Okay, this is crazy.
Unfortunately, I don't always agree with the high level of morality that we do, but it's completely it's important because that keeps us on a different level.
I can give you an example
Give
for
an
that.
example, yeah.
So we never enter in all other units. We never enter a new area. So we spend time in different areas around the city of Khan Yunis, and we never entered a new area until we got the all clear from different intelligence units and such. That is all evacuated and clear. And sometimes we were held back, and that obviously that harms and jeopardizes our operations.
Yeah.
But we had to wait until we got the all clear and the okay that the entire population is evacuated. And until then, we couldn't begin our operations.
Wow.
And also, so they do it in different ways in how the army is evacuating or making them evacuate. But one of the methods the IDF uses is flyers. They just drop from the air and letting people
Phone
know
calls,
that
flyers.
Exactly, and letting people know that we're going to go and they all need to evacuate. And while we were there, in many houses, I mean, we can speak about it more later, but in many houses we find a lot of weapons, ammunition, of course, and terror-related equipment. And you also see those flyers. So you see there was a house full of terrorists, and you see the flyer that tells them we're coming.
Unbelievable. Wow. Yeah, you think about it. What other army on the planet does that?
None.
I even heard the phone calls that you guys made, and one of the Israelis were telling the person in the Palestinian area, the Gaza, hey, get out of there. You're gonna get hit there. And he goes, we're not moving.
Yeah.
And that was the mentality.
And so they do it for entire areas,
Right.
but also in specific cases, like before they bomb a certain building, they will call all the people in this area and tell them to move if they're still there. And they will first use, I don't know how it's called in English, but like a smaller bomb at first that doesn't make a lot of damage, just to let people a warning.
Oh my
a couple
land,
of
I
minutes
didn't even
before.
know that.
Yeah, that's something the
Wow.
IDF does almost in everything that he does. Yeah.
And I think it's not just in the battlefield. You know, at the end of the day, I was hospitalized twice, as you know. During the war, I got injured, and one of the things that you see in Israeli hospital is that, you know, although we're in war, still the people of Gaza, people who have cancer, people who have things, and it's a bit crazy because they have 36 hospitals, but that's a different. But we still host them for free, by the way, and give them the best medical kind of like treatment in Israel. And we also had the sister of, I think, Ismail Haniyeh. I think it's Ismail Haniyeh, one of the top leaders of Hamas. His sister, I think her daughter has cancer, and she's treated in Israel.
She was treated in Israel during the war.
During the war.
Wow.
So think about a country that has the sister or the sister and the daughter of the guy who's basically orchestrating the massacre of Israel. And we as moral people are now going to use that, and that's just to show really the elevate and the moral, and we really, you know, it makes us stronger. We really believe in that being more moral than our enemy makes us stronger. And you know, as we said, we have things to do. The hostages are number one for us. Until we don't get them back, we don't have anything to speak about a ceasefire or anything else. That's the most important thing. Rafah, up north, it will come. Sooner or later, it will come. But the hostages are the most important thing, and I think that's something across Israel, left, right, everyone agrees on that. And until that doesn't happen, you know, the White House could keep on speaking those things, but at the end of the day, I think there's still 7 American citizens that are also hostages.
Exactly.
I think that's something that is not said enough.
No, it's not. It's not. That's actually pushed down in the media. They don't want us talking about that one, because then that would make Americans say, hey, why don't you get our Americans out of there? And we're in an election year, and so the Biden administration is trying to play both ends. So give us some information about what's going to happen, what you think in the north.
So I think what we're facing in the north, and it's not what I think, I mean, it's a pretty known, I mean, it's pretty much a fact that it's going to happen. It's very clear and obvious to everyone in Israel that it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when, not of if. People are talking about the summer, before the summer, after the summer, but it's going to happen sometime soon. Hopefully we'll initiate it and not be surprised again. But what we're facing there, it's a whole different game than what is happening in the Gaza Strip. I think the good part of it, or like the better difference, let's say, is that we're also dealing with a terrorist organization in Lebanon, that's Hezbollah. But I don't think it's the same twisted mentality of those psychopaths, crazy people in the Gaza Strip who are trying to lure people out of their houses just to shoot them down, and if they're not coming out, they will burn the house. All those things they did on October 7th. So I think this is not the case in the north, in Lebanon, but that's the good part of it. The bad part of it is that it's a huge army. They operate as an army. They have much more funds. They have much more weapons, as you mentioned, 100,000 exactly. And they have different units. So it's a terror organization in a disguise of an army, and with the better abilities of an army. So it's going to be a whole different game, much more intense, probably longer. Hopefully not, but probably longer, and probably much more troops will have to go inside and more deep into Lebanon, unlike the Gaza Strip, which is really small in the end. So I think it's going to be like what the IDF operations in Gaza. It's nothing compared to what we'll have to face.
And I think that's part of what we're doing here. At the end of the day, you know, we're of course we're speaking around, but also one of our goals here is to really re-equip ourselves,
trying to
be ready, to be prepared as much as possible.
And not to do it as we go while like we're
it
surprised.
It will be much more complicated. You know, we had calls from Gaza,
Yes. Right.
So
And we won't be able to do that from Lebanon.
yeah, in Lebanon
That's a part
it
of the
will
difference.
be so everything will be changed.
Yeah.
You know, we had first of all, I wanted to say thank you. You guys are a huge part of the drone unit. We with the help of private donors that we kind of like opened 6 months ago. We had that idea.
Yeah.
Usually it's used just in special forces. We were the first reserve unit to do it.
Amen.
And it was a huge success. Just for you guys to understand, the drones you bought us were used in the battlefield. So just as an example, the small drones
Yeah.
are used the small tactical drones are used every time we need to clear a house. We send the drones in, they go inside the house, and twice we had houses that we found that were booby trapped.
Wow.
And prior to using the drones,
Wow.
we would have sent our forces there and would probably have lost many lives. So that's
Would have found out when it's too late. And
Yeah.
so that's really those drones were a huge part of our
Yeah.
keeping our soldiers safe.
Yeah.
And I have to say that we did it at the beginning. It was like I don't know if a controversy, but like we had the guy who basically ran our operation is one of the top Israeli leaders in Rafael, who's pretty much the same as Lockheed Martin, Right-Horn, but on the Israeli side. And he basically created something amazing, so amazing that the IDF saw it. And today, every reserve unit is starting to build their own drone unit with the
Wow.
help. So
That's cool.
you guys were the
Yeah.
tip of the spear, right?
Yeah, tip of the
You
spear.
were- you-
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
really, I wanted to say thank you to all of you. I know a lot of you took part in this. Reverend
For all the
was
support,
your kind of like he was the one who gave it to us, and it actually took you guys really so quick. It's like amazing to see the support and help. As soon as I asked Reverend to do it, I think it took a week to get to Israel. It was so amazing that people were shocked with
Yeah.
that. So I could say thank you, but that you don't really understand how many lives you saved. So every one of our soldiers who was supposed to be in those houses owes you guys big time. And so really thank you for that.
I just want to emphasize that your support saved lives.
Yeah.
Like as simple as that.
Yeah. Right. Good.
One of our friends could have not been here today.
That's right.
And we are thanks to that support. So again, we want to say thank you.
Yeah.
And for all the support that arrived, and for hopefully support that will arrive for what we're facing up north.
Absolutely.
It just saves life.
Okay. So now I want to pivot to how does our audience help you guys? And we talked off air about what you're building some type of bridge between churches and units and stuff like that. Because obviously what you have described, we're not done. It's gonna be a while, and you guys need the help. We've helped already, but we want to continue. So explain to the audience how they can continue to help.
Okay, perfect. I think there's two parts. One, the prayers and all the things that you guys are doing is amazing, and we really want to keep that going. And one of the things that we're trying to assemble is we're working with Reverend Brandon's church, with Rock Harbor, and other churches around the country in building a program that will allow us to kind of like adopt the churches that are adopting us.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like vice versa, and really giving information on what's happening. And that information could help you guys also in advocating for Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
sorry. I think the idea here is just to build relationships,
Right.
and instead of not instead, but if right now we have one church that support one unit, we want to make it bigger and
Yeah.
more meaningful. So we want more churches to be in touch with more units, and to the units to be in touch with the churches, and to build this relationship and the bridge, and the communication will be open for both sides,
Okay.
and to make it bigger, and that more units in the IDF and that more churches will be a part of this
Amen.
thing.
Amen.
And the second part is, of course, re-equipping and also helping our troops.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that this 6 months and probably the future that is coming, and everything that's coming up north Also in Iran, by the way, we're prepared. You guys need to know that we're prepared, and the IDF has plans. Whatever will come. But with that said, we're still missing a lot of key equipment like the drones. So you guys helped us with the drones. Just for you to understand, we had 12 drones when we got into Gaza. We're currently with just 2.
Yeah.
So we understand that the fight up north will be longer and it will be much tougher to re-equip during the time we're in. So we're trying to be ready as much as we can with everything that we need. So the way to do that, we have through the church, you could donate for causes to help our soldiers, to help the unit buy equipment, and you could do that through Rock Harbor Church, through the website, or contact them by phone, email, and they'll give you all the information needed. But we're working directly with the church, and they're helping us kind of like get whatever is needed as soon as possible for us to be prepared.
Yeah.
So a lot of our soldiers are self-employed. The way it works in Israel, I think it's pretty much similar in the US, is that when you're self-employed, so the fact that you're doing now 6 months of reserve, you get hurt much more because your business currently closed. So even if you get a certain something back from the country, takes a lot of time, and normally it doesn't take into account everything. So what we did through the church is we have soldiers coming to us, and we see their papers and explore what they did for the last couple of last year and everything, and we see something that we could help. If it's a loan, if it's giving a certain funds for them to kind of like handle it until everything kind of like settles back, that's what we're currently doing. And it's it's our soldiers, their families. A lot of people are getting hurt, and we're trying, we know that we're in a war, and sometimes we don't have the full kind of like time to do that, but we have kind of like our board members and people that the community and the community that we managed to build, and they're taking care of the families. So that's really important to us, because I was 143 days. It really made us, some of these guys I spent more this year with my wife and kids.
Right.
So and we were really intimate on the end of the day, it's sleeping
like
in the same like a family.
I saw the bunks, man. You guys are close together, man.
Right. The closest way it could get.
I think in the bottom line, many soldiers were impacted by this thing financially.
Good.
And thanks to your help, we're able to assist them more than the government does.
Amen.
And that's very meaningful. Yeah.
So let me add this, guys. What you have to understand is, and we've helped other units as well. Some of the units didn't have bulletproof vests. They didn't have helmets. They didn't have knee pads. We supplied rain jackets or something for you guys too.
Rain jackets, and also I think you guys were part of us buying
the backpacks or something.
Vests.
Vests. Vests. So there's different ways, and so on Rock Harbor on our website, there's 2 ways to help them. You can say Bless Israel. That's one thing on our giving tab, and on the second tab is Bless Israel's families, the IDF families. So you can make your donations to one of those 2 spots. Now, what we have raised, and I'll let these guys know, we've raised over $100,000 for the IDF families.
Wow.
So we're getting ready to donate that to them, but again, that's not the end of it. I mean, how many are in your unit? Like 150 or so?
So we have 150, but at the end of the day, our battalion is about 550. So what we're doing is trying to help the 550. Of course, our soldiers are always, I lead the part of all the operations and everything for our unit. But with that said, we're also, we have a bigger
want
family.
to expand it as much as possible.
As much as possible. And the only way we could really expand it is with your help.
Yes.
And that's something I know Reverend is putting a push in. And also, any information you guys want to hear more, feel free to contact Reverend Brandon. We'll be happy to, engage, do a Zoom call, whatever is needed, because you guys are part of the family.
Yeah.
And I know it doesn't always seem that way because it's so far away, but really, the support you're giving us is something extraordinary for us, because we feel that we're getting so much stronger, because it's not just our war. It's a war of the Western civilization, and it's the dark forces, if you want to take it to I hope I'm not getting into anything, but
No,
Iran,
right.
Russia, China, those countries, and I hope I don't need to visit China for business soon, but those countries are leading something not good to the world.
Yeah.
And us as Westerns, we need to align and be together, and don't get into all the liberal and all those places that are not good for us.
Right.
We need to be confident in our values and to win it, because it's a total war here.
Amen. Amen. So here's what I want you to realize is this is how it works. All of your money is going to go directly to them. There's no administrative costs or anything like that. So what he does, he tells me what they need, and then we work through their nonprofits that they use, and they go buy the equipment for them, and it goes right to them. So there's no middleman, there's nothing. It just goes directly to their unit. So that's how it works. So we eliminated any middleman.
Yeah, and then, sorry, just to add,
to that.
so no one cuts a fee actually out of it, and we get actually all of it. But it's important to say that we don't just get the money and do whatever we want with it. We have to show exactly what we want and what we need and how much it costs, and then the nonprofit that holds the money for us just giving it or just purchasing what we need. So we everything we get all the money, and nothing gets lost in the way. But we can't just do whatever we want with it.
They can't go on vacation to Hawaii with it or anything like that. So there's accountability is what he's trying to say, and with the nonprofit they're working with in Israel, they hold them accountable. So it's all accounted for, guys. So it's great. But let me add this to the audience, guys. You mentioned it's not just a war with Israel against Hamas, which that's on the microcosm, but you're right. It's a war of the West against a culture of death. That's what really it is. It's a culture of death and versus a culture of life. Israel represents that life in the Middle East, obviously. Now let me go one step further. Let me speak to the Christians out that are listening to me. I'm going to speak to you because, as you know, Genesis 12:3 says, I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. You guys all know that. So the spiritual reason we're doing this too is not just to protect their lives, but God is in covenant with the nation of Israel, and we support that covenant of the Jewish people and their right to the land and their right to exist. That land is theirs, given by Hashem to them, okay, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and his descendants. The Apostle Paul in Romans said we owe a debt of gratitude to the Jewish people because of what they have given us, right? And so in Romans 15:27, it talks about our owing the Jews a material debt, okay? So they've blessed us spiritually with our great heritage, our Jewish heritage. I mean, Christianity is a Jewish religion, okay? And we owe them that. So the Apostle Paul even said we're obligated to do that. So that's why we're giving back. So those are the spiritual reasons we're doing that. So guys, thank you so much. These guys are the bravest guys. I mean, they're on the front lines, man. These are guys that you want to support, man. Elia, be safe. We'll continue to pray for you. Gil, God bless you. We're going to continue to pray for you. Be safe.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We're going to do everything we can all the way. All the way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
man. God bless you guys. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time.